This is Andre Banks with Banks Credit Check, coming to you with an article from business.com for business credit card fees that are tax deductible. And if any people who might have businesses or maybe not even know that some of these credit card fees are actually tax deductible, I thought the article was definitely worthwhile and even gave me some information to look into and see how different aspects you can write off for your business, especially if you're utilizing credit cards with them. And most businesses, you have access to a credit card, and some of the credit card fees, they explain how that could be waived. I'll put a link inside the description. Definitely want to pay attention to. You want to kind of dive right in and read from there. Can you deduct that credit card fee? Find out which credit card fees are tax deductible. Credit card fees can be a pain, but the good news is that they're for a business, they're tax deductible. Those credit card related charges include interest expenses, balance transfer charges, cash advance fees, and credit card processing fees. Credit card fees explained. Credit card companies charge all kinds of fees for both business and personal cards, including the following: annual fees, late fees, interest costs, balance transfer costs, cash advance fees. Some of these fees, such as annual fees, are charged regularly, regardless of whether you use your card. Others apply only if you use your card for certain actions like cash advance or balance transfer. These fees vary by card. For example, some cards don't charge an annual fee, while others charge hundreds of dollars per year. Gotta choose a business credit card. Interesting. You might want to click on that. In addition to the normal retail fees that credit card companies charge for having and using a card, that require businesses that accept credit cards as a form of payment from their customers to pay processing fees on every credit card transaction they accept. That is definitely true. These fees are usually a few cents per transaction, but a small percentage of the sale amount. In exchange for these processing fees, credit card companies accept liability if it turns out the business customer is using a card fraudulently or tries to back out of their transaction later. So who can deduct these credit card fees? Any business can. This is when it gets the most interesting. Any business can deduct their credit card fees on their taxes. The form you use depends on your business structure. Okay. Again, for incorporated entities such as limited liability companies, which people hold that my business is in, you use the form 1120. Those filings are an S corp use form 1120S. Good information here. Partnerships file using form 1065. Unincorporated business owners, sole proprietors, and single owner LLCs can also deduct credit card fees that are qualifying business expenses using form 1040 Schedule C. To do so, you must be able to show that the fee was unequivocally a business expense. That's tough. But in other words, if your personal credit card to buy gas once a year for a business vehicle, you don't get to deduct the entire annual fee for your card. But still, it's not. When I said it's tough, that's still something, because I'm learning about this myself. Because I don't deduct the annual fees, and some of the other fees. This is always just good information. This is why business owners should set a dedicated business bank account and credit cards that clearly separate business and personal expenses and make both types easy to track. Well, that's easy. It's easier said than done, but if you function in that point, you're keeping everything above board, this should be a task that you already should be doing. There's also another big reason for business to keep separate financials. Mangling business and personal money can cause business owners to give up their liability protections, of course, afforded to incorporated entities such as LLCs. In these cases, courts may be able to pierce the veil and hold the business directors and shareholders personally liable for damage caused by the business. Okay, business versus personal credit card fees. Though credit card companies charge fees for both business and personal credit cards, only businesses conduct their credit card fees. Further fees claimed by business as deductible business expenses must be directly associated with the business. These requirements are significant because business owners often use their personal credit cards to cover business expenses. In other cases, they use business cards for personal uses. Both actions can make it more difficult to deduct credit card fees. So if you're one of those individuals that do that, you just got to be very mindful of this, because expenses have to be directly related to business and only business. How to apply for a business credit card. Another thing here. Business section for credit card fees. According to IRS publication 535, business can deduct 100% of credit card expenses used only for businesses. If a business owner uses a personal credit card for business purposes and assess the fee, they can deduct only a percentage of the fee equal to the percentage of card spending that's for business, i.e. the fees that are directly related to the business expenses. For example, if 10% of your personal credit card use is for business expenses, you can deduct 10% of your credit card's annual fee on your taxes. Well, separate from the fees for having or using a credit card, businesses can also deduct credit card transaction fees that they pay as part of accepting credit card payments for customers. This is represented by the difference in business gross sale amount and the net payment received from their merchant service provider. In addition to the credit card fees, business can deduct any fees they pay financing institutions, such as interest fees, or other expenses, so as long as they're for legitimate business activities. This means that businesses can deduct expenses related to fees such as the account charges, check printing fees, stock payment fees, and wire transfer fees. See the complete list of business small transactions. Common mistakes when using credit card fees. Deducting credit card fees is relatively straightforward. If they're for the business, you can deduct them. If they aren't, you can't, but people often make it more complicated or difficult than it needs to be. One of the biggest ways to do this is not by keeping separate personal and business expenses. Here are some of the most common mistakes people make when deducting credit card fees. They go into a lot of this because of, commingling, as they put about it. I read about it a little bit earlier. Deducting any fees for personal credit cards used occasionally for business expenses. When you use a personal credit card business, it's a lot harder to determine which fees and how much of those fees are business related, which aren't. Deduct credit card interest on a personal return. Individuals can deduct their mortgage interest on their personal tax returns, so they often think they can deduct their credit card interest as well. That's true. Deducting credit card expenses aren't allocable to business activities. To claim a tax deduction for credit card fees, a taxpayer must be able to show that expenses directly related to a business. Double deducting processes fee. Many business owners only claim as income the funds they receive from their merchant service provider. If that amount that they claim as income, then this amount is already net of credit card transaction fees, so they can't deduct those charges. All credit cards have fees and expenses, not just for using and having them, but also for accepting them. In both cases, these charges are tax deductible, very good again, but only for businesses and only when they relate to legitimate businesses' expenses. If you're going to deduct expenses for credit card fees on your taxes, be sure to keep an accurate accounting of all your fees. To make this easy, it's best to have separate cards, including one that you only use for business, so that all the fees related to a specific card can be directly attributed to business expenses. This requires more forethought, but it's far more effective than using a personal card for business and trying to figure out at tax time what is taxable and what's not. Definitely a lot of jargon here. Worth your time. Definitely worth your time. I learned something as well, something to talk over my account, especially when I use the credit card business expense. I didn't even think about the fees. I just used the expense to try my best to do this, but it gives you much more detail, and you're having someone who prepares your taxes, or even if this is something that definitely will help you out, especially with credit cards fees for businesses. So if this video has been any value to you, please subscribe, leave some comments, hit the like button. Until my next video on Banks Credit Chat, I'm out.